from the final week of the regular season, including playoff-bound Pulaski Robinson against conference champion Hot Springs, the 6th AAA title game between Brinkley and Pulaski Academy, and the Dover Pirates hanging rival Atkins. Plus, we'll take you to Watson Chapel for this week's Spirit Student of the Week and introduce you to a big boy from Bryant who is the Marines Scholar Athlete of the Week. Hard-hitting highlights of more than 20 games, pre-game pep talks, post-game reaction, and the latest Hootens rankings as we head to the playoffs. There's no turning back now. Hootens Arkansas football is next.
Let's take it to him.
You stuck it to him and you won it.
This is our time of the year.
Check this out.
The regular season is over, and we're headed for the playoffs. Hello, and welcome to Hootens Arkansas Football, Arkansas's only statewide high school football show. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, we have highlights from more than 20 games from around our state from the 10th week of the high school football season. And tonight, we'll begin with the smaller schools in Class 2A. Harding Academy has been our #1 team all year long, and we'll begin tonight with highlights of the Wildcats against Des Arc on Hootens Arkansas Football. Harding was looking to sweep the 6AA and had no problem. Quarterback Caleb Keys goes up top to Heath Adams for a 54-yard touchdown and a 14-0 Harding lead late in the first quarter. And on their next possession, Keys will hook up with Adams again. This time it's going to go for 92 yards. That made it 21-0. In 5 weeks, the Wildcats should capture their first state title since 1983. Final score, Harding Academy 41, Des Arc 27. The Augusta Red Devils played host to tradition-rich Barton last night. Augusta needing a win to make the playoffs, but Barton is rarely a gracious guest. Sophomore quarterback Chris Vaughn goes around the left end to give the Bears a 16-0 lead in the first quarter. And on its next drive, Barton with Vaughn again going 39 yards for the touchdown. And the Barton route was on. Augusta, which played for the state championship last year and returned 7 starters on both sides of the ball, didn't make the playoffs this year. Final score, Frank McClellan's Barton Bears 50, Augusta 8. Moving from the rugged 6AA conference to the rather weak 4AA now. Arkansas Baptist won just 2 games last year, but the Eagles were fighting for a playoff spot last night against winless first-year program Little Rock Lutheran. Baptist was up 28-0 in the third quarter when senior Adam Rowe takes it in from 10 yards out for his 4th touchdown of the night. Then Lutheran fumbles the ball, and Arkansas Baptist's Robert Jacks falls onto the end zone. That's a touchdown for Jacks and the Eagles. Baptist will be a #3 seed in the playoffs and play at Elkins in Northwest Arkansas next Friday. Final score, Arkansas Baptist 56, Lutheran 7. Heading from Arkansas Baptist just down Highway 10 to Little Rock Christian now. The Warriors needed a win over Magazine last night to get the final playoff spot from the 4AA. The Christian sophomore tandem of quarterback Drew Johnson and receiver Caleb Camarunas hooked up for 5 touchdowns, including this one on the first drive of the game for a 7-0 lead. Then Cassidy Johnson bursts up the middle, blocks and recovers Magazine's punt. A few plays later, it's Cassidy Johnson again, nailing a 32-yard field goal to put Christian up 10-0, but Magazine would come back and lead at halftime 21-18. In the second half, Christian rallied to take the playoff spot away from Magazine, and the Warriors are headed to the postseason in their first season of varsity action. Final score, Christian 40, Magazine 37. In the 5AA conference, Bauxite is headed back to the playoffs as a #3 seed. Bauxite built a 27-6 lead on Cutter Morningstar Thursday night with this 1-yard run by B.J. Ward. But check out Cutter coming back with this sweet double reverse pass play. It's going to cover 70 yards. MJ Jackson chunks it to a wide open Tim Bazell, who hauls it in and heads to the house. The touchdown would cut Bauxite's lead to 5, but the Miners would turn it on in the third quarter. Bauxite started its onslaught with quarterback David Marshall dropping back and finding Daniel Guffey over the middle. Guffey dives in the end zone for the catch. That made it 34-22. A little bit later, Billy Bailey takes off for Bauxite. He's going to go 43 yards, and the Miners were digging it up by 19 now, and the Miners weren't finished. Still in the third quarter now, lineman Chad Ferguson picks up the fumble and drags Cutter into the end zone. Ferguson was a fullback in junior high and hasn't forgot how to find the end zone. Final score, Bauxite 54, Cutter Morning Star 34.
We weren't really ready for what they came out with. They were fired up, and we had to come out in the second half and get after it.
Harding Academy has been Hootens #1 all season. The Wildcats ran through the 6AA this year and should have little trouble with Palestine Wheatley next week. Junction City is the 7AA East champion and may be vulnerable to the pass, but there's not a passing team in sight until a possible semifinal matchup with, you guessed it, Harding Academy. Rison will face its toughest test in 2 months next week against Smackover. Look for Charleston at Harding Academy in 3 weeks. Barton is number 5 and Danville 6. Then it's Mineral Springs and Bearden at number 8. The Bears are going to miss all-around athlete Seth Easterling in the playoffs. Mark Tree has won 5 straight 3AA titles. Hughes pushed Mark Tree last night but lost by a field goal. Dirks starts the second 10, then it's the Go Devils. Carlisle is the number 4 seed from the tough 6AA and headed to Mark Tree for a rematch of a playoff game a year ago that Carlisle won 55-6. The Jessieville Lions are conference champions for the first time in school history. Then it's Hampton, the Buckaroos, and Des Arc. Hazen is the best team in AA not to make the playoffs. Mount Ida will face its toughest test of the year next week when the Lions play host to Gurdon. And number 20 Hector faces its old coach Mike Herod and the Pea Ridge Blackhawks next week.
Now, the Arkansas Department of Higher Education's Spirit Student of the Week.
Playing music has always been something Ernie Medlin has wanted to do.
My mom said when I was little, she said all I do is sit there and bang on pots and pans and hit trash cans.
And thus began Ernie's love for playing the drums.
I enjoy it so much. It's more like my second, just fun. Without music, there's really nothing for me to do. It's like life is my music. Music is my life.
But playing on Friday nights during football season, supporting Watson Chapel's football team makes it even better.
And sometimes I just get so engrossed in the football. I love that too. It's just amazing. It's like you're rooting for the Wildcats. You go.
Ernie takes that same approach in the classroom, and his grades show. Ernie sports a grade point average of near 4.0.
How do I do it? Whew, most of the time, sometimes I had to find myself pulling all-nighters sometimes.
Ernie's mother is with him every step of the way.
She just expects from me what she knows I can do the best. You know, if my best is a B, it's a B.
On behalf of the Arkansas Department of Higher Education, we'd like to say congratulations, Spirit Scholars. We're proud of all the things that you do in your school, in your community, and working towards a bright future. Keep those grades up. Have a great year.
Thanks a lot, Kathy, and congratulations to Ernie Medlin, our Spirit Student of the Week. Coming up next, more of Hootens Arkansas football, highlights from Class 3A, including the 6th AAA title game between Brinkley and Pulaski Academy.
I got a lot of kids with big hearts, and that's what counts.
That's Brinkley's coach Scott Barnes before last night's big game between the Tigers and Pulaski Academy for the 6th AAA title. Brinkley held the pass-happy Bruins in check for a quarter on a windy night in the Delta, but PA came alive in the second quarter. After a Brinkley fumble, the Bruins needed just 3 plays to score. Junior quarterback Adam Thrash rolls out and finds Blake Miller. The Rocket Man's got it for a 7-yard touchdown. The Tigers respond with quarterback Kendall Bean on the keeper and tack on 15 more for the face mask. But on the next play, Bean lost into the end zone, and Pulaski Academy sophomore Trevor Gillett gets the pick. A little bit later, Thrash gets hot. He zips one to Rob Brasher for a nice gain. And a couple of plays later, Pulaski Academy moves the pocket, and Thrash finds junior Bo Rhodes all alone for a 33-yard score. Thrash would finish with 200 yards passing and 5 touchdowns. Brinkley finally got it going, first on the ground. Sophomore Calvin Flanoy getting loose up the middle for 34 yards. 6 plays later, Bean floats back and dumps the screen to Khalid Walton, and the senior does the rest, making Pulaski Academy miss all the way to the 1-yard line. Bean would cap the 80-yard drive with a sneak to make it 14-7, but Pulaski Academy would add 2 more scores before halftime and pull away late. The final, Pulaski Academy 41, Brinkley 21. In Pulaski Academy's old conference, the 5 AAA, Dover was looking to earn a share of the conference championship at Atkins Thursday night. Both teams moved the ball at times in the first half, but neither could sustain a drive. Dover put together its best scoring threat just before halftime. Backup sophomore quarterback Ryan Coffin waits patiently and then finds tight end Gannon White for a nice gain. Dover then runs some misdirection with big man Michael Beck, a 200-pound sophomore. But Beck didn't get in the end zone, and with 4 seconds left on the clock and no timeouts, Dover couldn't get the ball snapped on the next play. Watch Atkins coaches hurry their team off the field. Dover coaches thought the referee started the clock too soon.
You started the clock before you even marked the ball. Put it on the ground. It's a bunch of BS.
It was scoreless at halftime and tied at the end of regulation. But Dover's Michael Williams ran for the game-winning touchdown in overtime, and the Pirates are co-conference champs. Final score, Dover 13, Atkins 7. Dover's overtime victory helped Mayflower secure a playoff spot in its first season as a member of Class 3A, but the Eagles still had to beat Dardanelle Thursday night, and it wasn't easy. Dardanelle was down by just 7 in the fourth quarter when the snap gets away from Dardanelle's junior quarterback Kyle Phillips, and Mayflower's sophomore linebacker Larry Jenkins recovers. The turnover would lead to a Mayflower score. Jonathan Jones ran wild all night, racking up 231 yards. His run would lead to this quarterback sneak by John Sanson for a 2-touchdown lead, and Mayflower is headed to the postseason while Dardanelle is ready for basketball season. Final score, Mayflower 21, Dardanelle 7.
They shut us down better than anybody we played all year long. I hate that.
And this is our first year at AAA, and we're going to the first round, so that's cool. I think we'll probably be playing PA or something like that next week, so that'll be a big game.
The Warren Lumberjacks have been ranked #1 by Hootens Arkansas football all season. The Lumberjacks are 8 AAA champions and have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Ozark is the 4 AAA champs for the second time in 3 years. Gosnell is 10-0 and could play at Warren in the quarterfinals. Pulaski Academy has won 4 straight conference championships, and Boonville's #5. Nashville tied for its first conference title since 1996. The Scrappers will play host to Dumas next Friday. Newport will likely play host to Boonville in the second round. Rivercrest is #8, and Prescott will play host to dangerous Dollarway next week. Star City's 10 and Dollarway's 11. Gravette is 10-0, but unfortunately on the same side of the playoff bracket as Pulaski Academy, Newport, Rivercrest, and Boonville. Ashdown shares the 7 AAA conference title, but still has to go on the road, playing at Star City next week. Pocahontas will play host to talented East Poinsett County next Friday. Berryville's #15. Oak Grove is the top seed from the 5 AAA. Then it's Dumas, Dover, Brinkley, and Central Arkansas Christian. Coach Tim Perry's Mustangs finished 3rd in the 6 AAA and won 8 games for only the second time in school history.
Now, more of Hootens Arkansas football, brought to you by First Security Bancorp.
And we begin our Class 4A highlights with Sylvan Hills playing host to Monticello for the 2nd seed in the Southeast. Sylvan Hills was up 9-0 in the 3rd quarter, and that's when Sylvan Hills' super sophomore Cammie Kareem takes over. On his first carry of the second half, Kareem gets 19 of his 207 yards on the night. A little bit later, Kareem finishes what he started, spinning off defenders. It's a 15-yard touchdown, and Sylvan Hills was up 16-0. The Bears secure the number 2 playoff seed. Final score, Sylvan Hills 28, Monticello 6. Another battle for a second playoff seed was played Thursday night in the Southeast Conference as Hot Springs traveled to Pulaski Robinson. In the second quarter, Robinson's quarterback Clifton Matthews scores from 1 yard out. A little bit later, Matthews would hook up with big tight end Marcus Stokes, but the second half was a different story as Troy outscored the Senators 27-7. Final score, Hot Springs 34, Robinson 19. The Valonia Eagles were fighting for their playoff spot last night at number 8 BB. Watch BB's quarterback Dwayne Lockhart. This guy has accounted for more than 3,000 yards of offense. His touchdown gave the Badgers a 21-8 lead. Valonia and their sophomore quarterback Nick Calger fought hard, but it was BB and Lockhart pulling away late in this one. Final score, Badgers 35, Valonia 21. And here is Hootens Arkansas football Class 4A ranking. Stuttgart has been on top all year long. The Ricebirds are the 4A Southeast champions and will have home field throughout the playoffs. Alma is 10-0 for the first time since 1980. Wynn survived Batesville last night, 21-14. Magnolia's number 4. Hot Springs is 9-1 and shares the 4A Southwest title with Magnolia this year. Harrison starts the second 5. The Goblins are headed to the playoffs for the first time in 3 years. Sylvan Hills is red hot and at home in the first round next week. There's BB at number 8. Robinson has lost twice this year and is headed on the road for the playoffs. Greenwood has lost consecutive games and will play at Hot Springs in the first round. Hope starts the second 10. The Bobcats have played lights out the past 2 weeks and are headed to Alma for a first-round matchup. Batesville's number 12, and Clarksville will travel to Magnolia next week. Crossett is number 14, then it's West Helena. Monticello is number 16, but the Billies are getting left out of the playoffs due to the point system. Valonia has lost 4 in a row, but somehow managed to back into the playoffs. Lakeside's number 18, then it's Marlton and Paragould. The Rams beat crosstown rival Greene County Tech 17-14 last night.
Now the Marine Scholar Athlete of the Week.
It's a bit of a miracle that Bryant center Brett Tracy can even play football or stay afloat in the classroom. As a child, a brain aneurysm paralyzed Brett from the waist down, and doctors feared that even if he survived brain surgery, his mental and physical facilities might be damaged. But Brett is more than a survivor. He's a mainstay on the Hornets' offensive front and excels in the classroom with a 4-point GPA.
And now Brett is hoping to turn that adversity from the past to inspiration for the future as he hopes to follow a career path in medicine.
I just credit my parents for their strong support in my life. I work hard and I would love to go into medicine as far as orthopedics or something like that.
A young man who wants to give something back. Brett Tracy, the Marine Scholar Athlete of the Week.
Thanks a lot, Mark, and congratulations to Brett Tracy, our Marine Scholar Athlete of the Week. Now, Brett's dad was a pretty good basketball player down at Sheridan. It's true, Brett. He was pretty good, but congratulations to you on your season and to the Hornets, who are headed to the playoffs. We have highlights of Bryant and more. Coming up next, it's Class 5A highlights on Hootens Arkansas Football.
Football, brought to you by Sonic.
Let's make sure we hunt the dog all night long. Let's get after it and go. Yo.
Most of the Benton Panthers are probably in the Deerwoods by now, as is Watson Chapel. Neither team had any playoff hopes heading into Thursday night's game at Benton. The Panthers started strong, though. Quarterback Brian Greer had a great senior season, and he passed for 242 yards against Watson Chapel on the first play of the game. Josh Donnelly makes the juggling catch for a 40-yard gain, but it was called back by a Benton penalty. Watson Chapel stuck to its ground game, and for a good reason. Randy Willingham totaled over 100 yards on his first 3 carries, including this 80-yard touchdown. Willingham would finish with 281 yards and 4 touchdowns. Final score, Watson Chapel 33, Benton 21. A week ago, ago, it looked like the Bryant Hornets would need a win at North Little Rock to make the playoffs, but it didn't turn out that way. The combination of Bryant breaking Conway's heart and Parkview pounding North Little Rock last Friday sealed the deal for the Hornets, and there was nothing on the line against North Little Rock. But Bryant's quarterback, Lance Parker, looked primed for the playoffs. He completed 18 of 28 passes for 264 yards and 3 touchdowns, including this one to Todd Bryan. Remember that name? Todd Bryan? This is the same sophomore who has kicked field goals to beat Benton and Conway this year. His touchdown catch gave Bryant a 13-point halftime lead. North Little Rock quarterback Tim Mason played well and tried to bring the charging Wildcats back, but Bryant would pull away to win by 20. And next Friday, the Hornets are headed to West Memphis. Final score, Bryant 41, North Little Rock 21.
8-2, we've played well down the stretch. We're 7 points from being undefeated. So we've got a good football team.
Staying in the 5A Central, Little Rock McClellan is enjoying its best season in 8 years and is headed to the playoffs under first-year coach Brian Hudson. Thursday night, the Crimson Lions beat Little Rock Parkview to win their 8th game of the year. Senior Tyler Knight led McClellan with 95 yards rushing and playing tough defense against Parkview. Watch Knight come out of nowhere with the slobber knocker. But on the next play, Parkview goes the other way, and David Kennebrew, who rushed for more than 1,000 yards this year, gets into the end zone. It wasn't enough, though. Final score, McClellan 26, Parkview 14. Staying in the 5A Central, the Little Rock Central Tigers had already secured a playoff spot and didn't have to worry about a letdown in last night's Bell Bowl matchup with rival Little Rock Hall. It was scoreless in the second quarter when Central sophomore sensation Mickey Dean takes the pitch, breaks loose, and avoids almost everyone, going 45 yards. 7 plays later, Central goes for it on 4th down, and quarterback Clark Irwin rolls out and finds Stuart Franks alone for the touchdown, and Central's up 8-0. The Tiger defense would hold Hall to 28 yards in the second half. Final score, Little Rock Central 28, Hall 0. Moving to the 5A East now, Cabot is headed to the playoffs as a number 2 seed from the conference. The Panthers finished the regular season by beating rival Jacksonville, with Cabot Jr. Chris Robertson carrying 32 times for 126 yards, including this 12-yard touchdown run for a 7-0 lead. Jacksonville came right back to tie it up, going 72 yards on 15 plays. A nice drive by the Red Devils, and quarterback Chris Rodriguez will score on a 2-yard run. It was 7-7 at halftime, but Cabot owns Jacksonville in the second half and will play host to Texarkana next Friday night. Final score, Panthers 28, Jacksonville 7. There are no changes in Hootens Arkansas football Class 5A Top 20 rankings. Hootens picked every winner this week, and Springdale has been our number 1 team all season. The Bulldogs have a cakewalk to the playoff semifinals. Fort Smith Southside is 2. Pine Bluff barely stayed undefeated, beating Lake Hamilton by just 2 points in Pine Bluff Thursday night. West Memphis is number 4 and a number 1 seed going into the playoffs. El Dorado is 5. Conway's worst nightmare has been drawing a team from the 5A West in the playoffs the past 2 years. Next Friday, the Wampus Cats will play host to Fort Smith Northside. Those 2 teams played 2 years ago, and Northside won 45-0 at Conway. Cabot has a tough draw against Texarkana in the first round. There's the Grizzlies, and Russellville headed to El Dorado. Bryant will play at West Memphis. Little Rock Central starts the second 10. The Tigers have a good chance to win against Jonesboro in the first round. The Razorbacks are number 12. Then it's McClellan headed to Southside. Jonesboro's 14 and Jacksonville's 15. Super talented Fayetteville didn't make the playoffs this year, but did beat Bentonville Friday night. Lake Hamilton is headed to Springdale. Ouch. Watson Chapel finishes the year at number 19, and Searcy's season is over with the 7-3 record. Hootens Arkansas football tonight. We look forward to seeing you again next Saturday night, and we will be here every Saturday throughout the playoffs, bringing you playoff action. And we hope to see you again next week on Hootens Arkansas football.
Let's take it to him.
You stuck it to him and you won it.
This is our time of the year.
Check this out.